They've got a good, we're kind of cycling through here. There's some good. That's the male you're looking at under the box there.
Oh, he's right under it.
Those are the babies in the box.
There's pictures.
The mother is perched over on the old school clock tower.
Down here. So I wanted to start off, give everybody a chance to see the birds in live real time. We can see the nest box from the amphitheater where we're going to be, but it's not a great view, and it doesn't work to take the clothes down. So we're going to stand here for volunteers and we'll move down the way. It is. Keep checking up there. If something happens, please tell me. I'll do my best to interpret what's going on out there, but from this angle, it's not real great. Thanks for coming. My name is Julie O'Connor. I work for Hawk Ridge Bird Observatory, and Hawk Ridge is a wide spot in the road just north of here along the lakeside neighborhood. It's up on a bluff overlooking the neighborhood. Raptors don't like to cross large bodies of cold water during their migration. They prefer to follow the shoreline where there are updrafts and thermals to give them lift. It's a much more energy efficient way to travel. So we see thousands and thousands of raptors migrating through here each fall. So my fall job is that I work at Hawk Ridge. I teach there. I am the volunteer coordinator. We have about 75 volunteers that help do interpretation and teach about what we're seeing. In the wintertime, I coordinate volunteers on a research project where we count owls in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And so I've got about 225 volunteers for that project. And then the big payoff is that I get to watch Peregrine Falcons for about 6 weeks in June and July. So today's program is going to give a little information about the natural history of Peregrine Falcons and the ecology, also the history of Peregrine Falcons, and then a little bit about these birds in particular and the birds that we have here in Duluth. Peregrine Falcons have historically had very stable populations. We know this because they are very coveted birds for falconry. Royalty used Peregrine Falcons for hunting, and the Peregrine Falcon was the bird to have. There are pictures of pharaohs at their weddings with their Peregrine Falcon on one hand, the bride on the other. They were treasured birds, and so knowing where their nests were was important for the sport of falconry. Over time, those populations stay very level. Other species have wide fluctuations in their populations, but peregrines have very stable populations. In the mid-1900s, folks in Europe started noticing that where there had traditionally been 100 peregrine nests in the British Isles, there were maybe less than 10. And they started raising some alarms that there was a problem with peregrine falcons. Surveys were done throughout other countries, and in the United States it was found in 1968 that there were no peregrine falcons nesting east of the Mississippi River. And they're used to using calcium, so their eggshells are very thin. That affects them in two ways. One, they crush their eggs when they incubate them, and two, if they don't crush their eggs, the babies dehydrate inside the eggs and die that way. DDT also affects the bird's body by the physiological process of removing those chemicals from the body creates a byproduct called heat. Throughout North America, we have 3 subspecies of peregrine falcons. The tundra subspecies nests in the high Arctic. The peeled subspecies nests on the western coast of the western third of the country, and the anatum subspecies covers the rest of the continent of North America, the eastern part of it. The anatum subspecies was pretty much wiped out by DDT. And so 3 things started to happen. One group of people started fighting to ban DDT. Another group of people started breeding captive falcons with anatum, the subspecies anatum, to put back out into the wild. They did a pretty good job of that. But there's 2 ways the peregrines can get hit. One is that little birds eat insects, and little birds get little bits of poison, and then the big birds eat the little birds and accumulate that poison within their system. and it gets into the water, and then creatures like ducks that eat water creatures, they get bits of the poison in their system. The peregrines eat the ducks, and they get lots in their system. The bald eagles got it through fish, and so it's transferred. Peregrine falcons are very susceptible because they eat birds that eat insects, and they eat birds that eat fish, and so they were really, really hit by it.
He's a falcon. He eats anything.
What's that?
He's a falcon.
They eat anything. They eat birds. They eat birds. So, while people were captive breeding falcons and releasing them, another group of people was taking eggs out of wild nests, hatching the eggs and putting the babies back. And so we had now more birds than there were in the early 1900s. We have more peregrine falcons. So when people say, are they rare, it's a yes and no question. Yes, we have a very healthy population of peregrine falcons in the area, but there's probably only about 80 nesting pairs in the state of Minnesota. They'll stoop on them and grab them out of the air. The third way, and this is as they accelerate in speed, they'll get a run at them, and they'll open up their talons and scrape up the back of the bird. They may sever their wing. They might, break their neck. They may do some serious damage. They may kill them in that process. Then they'll kind of come around and scoop them up out of the air and kill them with their beak. They grab them by the back of the head and twist. They have a little notch on their beak that is specially designed for slicing through the spinal cord of their prey. Perfect. Yes.
What kind of birds do they prefer?
Anything smaller than themselves. So they eat a lot of pigeons and starlings, but they also, people bring me parts over there all the time because there's bird parts all over Superior Street. People are always coming along saying, I have something for you and I don't want anyone to see. Like a head or a wing or tighten all of them up